Narcissists are everywhere in society. Enablers are also everywhere in society. Behind every enabler is quite often a narcissist. This video is going to be about the Narcissist Enablers. Welcome back to the channel. If you are new to the channel, I'm Elizabeth Shaw, and this channel is all about the narcissist personality disorder to give you more understanding of the people you might have been dealing with in your life, how to handle yourself around those people if you cannot go no contact, and how to recover from narcissistic abuse. This video is going to be about the Narcissist Enablers. Quite often, if you've been around a narcissist, you will have at some point unwittingly being an enabler for various of reasons, which I will get into throughout the video. So what is an enabler? An enabler is someone who supports, complies, or encourages the destructive, abusive behaviour of a narcissist. An enabler is someone who helps to defend the narcissist or hide the narcissist's behaviour from other people, or make out that the narcissist's behaviour isn't as bad as it truly is. And they do this by providing excuses for the narcissist's behaviour, providing distractions from the narcissist's behaviour, by helping the narcissist to gaslight those people around them, and helping the narcissist avoid consequences for their own actions, while also avoiding consequences from the narcissist if they were to step out of line and not enable the narcissist's abusive behaviour. As I said at the beginning of the video, with every enabler there is usually a narcissist in the background playing puppet master with all the strings and all the people within that narcissist's life to manipulate for the narcissist to get their own needs met, because they feel entitled, they feel superior, they want to have the power, and they are arrogant enough and they lack the empathy to care for people, so they use people to meet their own need, and they often gain an army of enablers, an army of supporters, flying monkeys, to help the narcissist achieve their own need. Often people become enablers unwittingly, or they themselves are a narcissist trying to work through life manipulating people also. The majority of enablers are unwitting enablers, and they become enablers either through the love bombing stage with a narcissist, being idolized by a narcissist, being gaslighted by the narcissist, getting told all the stories of the narcissist past, the narcissist using their divide and conquer, the way they're talking about other people within the narcissist's life, the way the narcissist is talking about other people to the person that is going to become the enabler, to pull the enabler in with the enabler's sympathy towards what the narcissist has been through. It's very strange because quite often it takes a lot to grasp the narcissist behaviour and what the narcissist has put us through, because often they're treating us a way that you wouldn't imagine that person to treat somebody else. Yet they are explaining somebody has treated them in the way the narcissist actually treated that person, but they're twisting the story around so we believe the narcissist. We believe that that other person could have treated the narcissist that way simply because we do not know that person. That person isn't showering us with attention, isn't showering with us with love. We don't know that person for who they are. And quite often, because that person has been gaslighted by the narcissist and has taken all the blame and the responsibility for the narcissist behaviour, they've been drained emotionally, physically, mentally, that they can come across as the person, the narcissist, is describing them to be. Often people with anxiety or CPTSD can end up with coping mechanisms such as alcohol. And when the narcissist is describing that person, that the narcissist will pick the points that they can use against that person to make the narcissist stories more believable, which then gets us to sympathise with the narcissist, feel obligated to help the narcissist, and in turn become an enabler and a supporter and help the narcissist, believing the other person to be in the wrong and the narcissist to be in the right. And you can have a lot of guilt to overcome after a relationship with a narcissist when you realise how much you helped them destroy an innocent person. You can try and approach that person, you can try and make it up to that person. You've got to understand that when you're in that situation, you don't always know the situation you are in. So working through those emotions, working through the guilt, if you can help that person out, help them out. If you can't, you have to leave that in the past, otherwise it's going to eat into your future. And we all make mistakes, we all make errors in judgment. It's about learning from those mistakes, learning from those errors in judgment, and making sure that we do not do it again, accepting responsibility for our own behaviour, which is something a narcissist cannot do, which is why they continue to go around hurting other people, exploiting other people, destroying other people, to raise themselves up, to make themselves feel better, and to achieve what they want to achieve in life without a care for the people around them. Enablers are often gaslighted into enabling the narcissist. Gaslighting isn't a case of where they just distort your reality by telling you that didn't happen or that did happen in the various formats that they tell people these things, depending on the narcissist you're dealing with, depending on who you are as a person. There's lots of various ways a narcissist will gaslight and distort your reality. With gaslighting, a narcissist not only distorts your reality, they distort your memories. They want to gaslight to distort how you feel. They want to gaslight to distort how you think. They want to gaslight to distort what your motives are. They want to gaslight to distort what you meant. They want to gaslight to distort your version of events, whether you're telling the truth or whether you're lying, whether other people are telling the truth, whether other people are lying. And they gaslight to divide and conquer so that they can play the puppet master. And gain the army of supporters around them. Gaslighting does not start with distorting a memory. Gaslighting starts with their love bombing, their idolisation, them lifting you up on that pedestal to drag you back down. It starts by playing you off against other people. It starts by lying to you about what other people have said and done to the narcissist or behind your back. Gaslighting is not just a case of, I didn't say that, I'm only joking. There is so many manipulative ways a narcissist gaslights. They gaslight to shift the blame. They gaslight to project all their feelings or their emotions or their motives or their insecurities or their thoughts onto the enabler and other people around them. People can often become an enabler due to a trauma response. When in trauma, humans often go into fight, flight, freeze or fawn. When we go into fight, we can often fight back against the narcissist, which can in turn then be taken as reactive abuse. If you fight back, the narcissist will twist this because you can accept responsibility for your behaviour. You take the blame, you take responsibility for what's happening. The narcissist gaslights, distorts reality, distracts you from the build-up to what's happened and emphasises in on your reactions to their behaviour. So you lose that ability to fight back because you're the one that's been gaslighted into questioning yourself and your motives and who you are as a person. You might take flight. Some people do take flight quite early on, but there isn't always an escape route. Often by the time you are in that deep, there's things like financial abuse and children to also think about. So it's not that easy to just take flight and get away from the narcissist. If they're your parents, if it's a boss or a work colleague, you've often been in that situation for a long time before they show their true colours. So it's not always that easy just to take flight straight away. And with all the cognitive dissonance from all that gaslighting, it's hard to recognise that we need to take flight. And once we do recognise we need to take flight, because of all the other things running in the background, it's not so easy to do. It is worth it. Once you build up the courage and the willpower and the drive and determination to take flight, it is more than worth it. We do have to go through pain. Life does hit us hard at times, but it is worth it to take flight. We can also freeze, where we become that depressed or anxious that we can no longer fight against them, we can no longer take flight to save ourselves, and we also don't fawn to their behaviour. We just go around day to day in a daze, wanting to sleep, not knowing what the purpose of life is, hitting very, very hard, of questioning so many things and just freezing in that place that you are in without realizing that there is a better way to live your life. Then often, to become a enabler, we fawn to the narcissist behavior by seeking safety, by complying to what the narcissist says, from all their invalidation, from all their intimidation, from all their threats, real or perceived threats, from those obvious threats of this will happen to you, to those covert threats of I wouldn't do that if I was you, from there's so many different reasons, the fear of arguments. It's a lot of the time it is emotional abuse, it's not always physical, so we can't always see what's happening to us. And even when we can see what's happening to us, that fear makes us fall into their behaviour for our own safety, which is that trauma response: fight, flight, freeze or fawn. And with a narcissistic relationship within them dynamics, most people, not all, but most people do end up fawning to the narcissist behaviour and becoming an enabler to the narcissist behaviour through fear of what could happen if they don't, which means they end up conforming to the narcissist's wishes, to the narcissist's needs, to the narcissist's desires. With a narcissist, you cannot get it right. They have that many issues working on the inside of them, and the traits, the 9 traits behind the disorder, the fact that they exploit people, the fact that they lack empathy, the fact that they feel entitled, means no matter what you do, it is never going to be enough to keep them happy. No matter how much you fawn to them, it is not going to work. The only way out is to safely get out. Narcissists have the apt ability to make people feel guilty, to make people feel obligated, to give people that false hope of change, which also keeps people trapped in that dynamics and keeps people from escaping the abuse and the narcissist, and often gets people to carry on enabling the narcissist, not realizing they're enabling the narcissist because they feel guilty if they don't do something, or they feel fear if they don't do something, or they hope that if they can get it right, they can help the narcissist change. When it comes down to it, we cannot help anyone, especially those who do not see a problem within their own behaviour. We can only help people help themselves if they wish to do so. And it's about finding the right way that people want to help themselves. There's lots of different ways for people to help themselves, but it's finding that right way for them. Which also goes down to things like religion, law of attraction, exercise, healthy eating, all these kinds of things that help people, finding passions, finding motivations, all these things that help people achieve what they want to achieve. And it is for them. And if someone has a religion, that is their belief for them. And if that helps them navigate their way through the roller coaster of life, that is for that person. If the law of attraction helps someone navigate their way through that life, that is their belief, and that is that for that person. It is not for us to force those beliefs onto other people, and it's also not for us to force doubt of those beliefs onto other people. So long as those other people aren't harming anybody within the way they go about their life, so long as their intentions are good. We have to wake people up to be able to think for themselves, to be able to think of how they want to navigate their own life, and also not to fear judgment from other people because they choose to live their life a certain way. So long as people's intentions are good, there is no wrong way or right way for someone to live their life. It's when you're dealing with narcissistic people whose intentions are to exploit other people. We're not all law enforcement people, so we can't, it's not illegal to be a narcissist. The behaviours that they do, some of those are illegal, but very difficult to prove. One of the ways, and possibly the best way to protect yourself against this sort of behaviour from another person, is no contact, which isn't always possible. The second is boundaries. Knowing who you are as a person, what you will accept from other people. The more we enable those people, thinking we're trying to help those people, the more those people destroy us and those around us. The more we gain our boundaries, the more we say no to these people. Even though these people will not recognise their behaviour as at fault, they'll still blame us for putting that boundary in place. And it's very hard to put boundaries up with some, which is why no contact is also the best way. They will still blame us for having that boundary, but that boundary is to teach people, without being hurtful towards people, how we should be treated. And those boundaries are different from person to person. Not everyone has the same beliefs. Not everyone has the same boundaries. So those boundaries are for you. If you would loan somebody money that wouldn't give it back, and that's not going to provoke anger or rage in you, then that's for you to do. That's your life. If you would loan one person money who you know wouldn't give it back, and that's going to affect you, you're not going to loan that person money, but you might loan someone else money because you've got that give and take. Your boundaries for you. We have to cut off Narcissist Supply. We have to cut off the Enabler Supply. We cut off the Narcissist Supply by not feeding them any attention, by not giving them any information about us, by not giving them any reactions. We also cut off the Enabler Supply by not giving them any attention, by not giving them any information, by not giving them any reactions. Because often when it comes to an enabler, their words can be very, very similar to a narcissist. Because that narcissist has been behind them playing the puppet master, subconsciously programmed in their mind through many manipulative gaslighting ways how to think, feel, act, talk, walk, you name it. If a narcissist can do it to exploit someone, they will. So things an enabler might say, which are very similar to what a narcissist might say. I'm sure they didn't mean that. So when the narcissist has done something and your feelings have been crushed and you're trying to navigate your way through life and your feelings and what's actually happening, not only have you got the narcissist saying, I didn't mean it like that, you're too sensitive. If If you go and speak to an enabler, you will have them saying to you, I'm sure they didn't mean it. So then not only have you got the narcissist telling you, you've got other people telling you, which makes you question who you are and what you think about other people's actions towards you. Only you can define the meaning of somebody else's treatment towards you, and only they can technically define the meaning behind their treatment of you. They don't want to be honest about that meaning. That is on them. With an honest person, they wouldn't just say, I didn't mean it like that. There would be that two-way conversation where they would try and find out how your feelings got hurt, why you're feeling the way you're feeling, as you would with someone else. If you accidentally hurt someone's feelings and they took something the wrong way, you would most likely go and try and talk to that person, explain your viewpoint and make sure that person was okay. You wouldn't turn around and say, well, I didn't mean it like that, take a joke. That is not how you would do it. Narcissistic people do that to distract you from what they are really doing. Enablers do that to enable the narcissist toxic behaviour. It wasn't that bad, is what a narcissist will tell you, to downplay their abusive behaviour. If you go and speak to someone for clarity of what is happening within your life and you speak to an enabler, you might get something like, I'm sure it wasn't that bad. When it is that bad, if you, again, you define the meaning. If you find it that bad, it is that bad, and it's finding the methods that work for you to get out of that situation that is that bad. If something is that bad that we need to go and get clarity from someone else of what's going off, whatever's going off is not right. The narcissist might say, I need you to help me change. I'll go to counselling. Usually after they've done something to crush your spirit as best they can. And when you go and speak to other people, obviously most people, well, people that aren't narcissists or suffer from other disorders, have empathy for others. So people can unwittingly say, everyone can change. This gives people the false hope that a narcissist can change. You have to be awoken to your own behaviour to be able to change your behaviour. You have to be responsible for your own behaviour to be able to change your behaviour. Even if they do recognise their own behaviour, most narcissists will find a way to use that to manipulate people even more for their own gain. Because to have the disorder, you've got at least 5 of those 9 characteristics running in the background. Even with awareness, even with therapy, those characteristics are still there. You can't inject empathy into somebody. And until therapists, psychologists, professors, whoever in the world finds a way to get a narcissist to develop the empathy to care for those around them, they are not going to change. So when someone comes and says everyone can change, potentially yes, everyone can change, but people have to want to change for themselves. A narcissist has learned over a prolonged period of time that that behaviour works for them. With a narcissist, you've got to have those boundaries there to show them how you will and will not be treated. But because they don't recognise their own behaviour as the problem, they're still going to think it's you. Therefore, they're not going to see a reason to change. They're going to think you need to change. When you've changed yourself time and time and time again to please somebody else, you are not the problem. Their abuse is the problem. Their disorder is the problem. When people say narcissist personality disorder is rare, really? Rare. There seems to be an awful lot of people that have been affected by these kinds of people, and there is a difference between narcissistic, narcissism, and having the disorder. But abusive people, narcissists that have the disorder, is not as rare as it looks. It's just very well hidden in society by the narcissist and by the enablers. Another one, the narcissist can come to you with stories of their traumatic past, which pulls in on your sympathy towards them. You can empathise with them and you want to help them. And when things start going downhill and you try and discuss it with somebody else, that person might say, and you go and discuss it with somebody else, that person might say, but they had a traumatic past. I'm sorry, but, and we fall for that. We sympathise with that. I still sympathise with them from a safe distance. I will never go to try and help them. I will never go to communicate with them or contact with them, because I know how destructive they have been on my life and the life of those around them. But I can still hope that they will change. I wouldn't want them near me, because even if they did change, they wouldn't be the person that I once knew, and they wouldn't be the person that I got to know and didn't want to know. A traumatic past does not excuse somebody else's behaviour, bad treatment of another person. Most people have witnessed, been through some form of trauma within their lives. They then choose to help people or to move on with their life. They do not choose to destroy other people. Because someone's had a traumatic past does not give them a get out of jail free card to go around causing trauma to other people. If anything, they should recognise how painful that is and empathise with people and not want to hurt other people in the ways that they themselves have once been hurt. As a narcissist can guilt trip you with, what about the children? Enablers can guilt trip with you with, well, it's your mother, it's your father, it's your brother, it's your husband. So what? If someone is hurting you time and time again, if someone doesn't learn from their own behaviour, if someone is not supportive of you, they are not for you. Enablers often say, give them time. A narcissist can say, I will change with your help, just give me a little bit of time. Let's go to therapy and work this out. There is a big difference between patience and endurance. Patience is helping somebody through a difficult time within their lives, helping someone through whatever traumatic event is going off in their lives. If they're coming out of an abusive relationship and they've got all the highs and lows and ups and downs and pushing people away and pulling people in and all over the place, having patience to help those people through. Somebody losing their job, helping them find a new job, helping them find their meaning in life. Somebody losing a family member, patience to help support them through the grieving stages. There is patience. Yes, we do need patience. Then there is endurance for people's abusive, toxic, negative, hurtful, destructive behaviour towards us. We do not have to endure that behaviour. That is not about having patience. That is about somebody disrespecting us and who we are to exploit us to meet their own needs. With parents, you can often get from the parent, I put a roof over your head, or from the enabler, they put a roof over your head. Yes, children can come across as entitled when they say, but you had me. And that is the thing, they did have you. A child cannot go and put a roof over their heads. A parent is there to guide that child. The parent chose to have that child. The parent is there to then guide that child until the child is ready and able to put a roof over their own heads, to support the child. Children can come across as quite narcissistic, as they don't understand that the parent is a separate entity to them as they're growing up. Children, teenagers can be quite narcissistic, and sometimes parents do have to give children a push in the right direction, because we are there to guide them, to help them, to support them, not to put a roof over their heads. If parents have children to put a roof over their heads, they shouldn't be having that child in the first place. And that's to cause the feelings of obligation. Because my parent put a roof over my head, I should now be there for my parent. Did your parents support you emotionally? Did they support you with your goals, your dreams, your ideas, your passions? Or did they push you into what your parents wanted you to do, and not for your benefit, for your parents' benefit? Or did they sabotage you? Did they pull you down? Did they neglect you? Because if they did, then just because they put a roof over your head does not mean you now have to be there for that person. You know what they're like. Well, if we know what they're like, once we realise we know what they're like, we might not know what they're like at the time, but once we realise it's time to go, no matter how many enablers say you know what they're like, well, yes, I know what they're like, and their behaviour and treatment of other people is, quite frankly, unacceptable. And saying you know what they're like does not make it acceptable. Boundaries are to teach people the consequences of their actions, not to hurt that person. They're for you to live your life while that person goes and lives their life. When it comes to the point when you feel like you're in a bit of a circus and you no longer know who's who within that circus, you have to step into your own lane by stepping out of their games, by leaving them to live their life exactly how they want to live their life, and teaching them that you are no longer going to be a part of their life. And it's not to make them change. They're entitled to be who they want to be. They're not entitled to abuse people, that is wrong, but they are entitled to be who they want to be. So it is not to make them change. Stepping into your own lane is to live your own life, to find your own happiness, to change you, to be who you want to be, to surround yourself with the people that you should be around, the people that are supportive of you, the people who love and care about you in the way you support other people and in the way you love and care and support the people. If you do find the information on this channel helpful, please do subscribe. I shall add the video in the description and up here about how narcissistic people use divide and conquer to gain armies of supporters and to manipulate those people around them and to gather enablers. I shall also add the video on boundaries to help you create your own boundaries, whatever those boundaries are for you. If anyone has any advice, please add that into the comments. If anyone has an enabling comment they've heard, please also add that into the comments to help those that are reading through. Thank you very much for listening. I hope everyone has an amazing day. Bye.